Here we go.
Let's do it. What's going on, bro?
Dude, good to be back. Good to see you again. It's been,
Another hot ass day.
yeah, I was just about to say that. It's been a super hot week. It's in the 90s again. So getting roasted, but I'm enjoying every second of it. I'm gonna get some more sun after this.
But yeah, I've been trying to get as much skin on every cubic inch of my body as possible.
Yes. Get it while it lasts, because that winter is long, dude.
Yeah, that's a good practice actually. What I've been doing right recently is just like kind of imagining what winter feels like and just because there's been a lot of people complaining about the heat, right? That it's so fucking hot or it's so humid. But it's like, dude, just think about how cold it can get. And like I would much rather prefer have the hot weather than negative degree weather.
Yeah. Oh, the negative. Yeah. When I long for that when I'm standing out in the cold and the wind's hitting my face and it's just a pain to walk from the store to your car when it's 0 degrees and the wind's blowing in your face, then I just imagine myself standing in shorts and sandals and just not having any cold on me, just feeling so comfortable. And now you can go outside and do that right now. I know it's super hot, but in the evenings, it's so beautiful. So it's a time to be cherished. The more you
Yeah,
think about, like you're saying, the more you think about the cold, then you appreciate it. But
yeah.
that's
And what
yeah, that
and
would be
one of
one
my
piece of advice for the younger self is appreciate those seasons. I appreciate them like never before, like when they're here.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
In one of my books, it talks about, or just a phrase of like, I guess it's a saying, but how one guy sees winter and how he just sees it as that summer sleeping, or he'll look at his cabbages and he'll see caterpillars, but he'll just say, look at all the butterflies that are, going to be the foresight of what's to come rather than seeing it as something that is shitty and not inchangeable in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's foreseeing the change that is already there. It's just not there yet. It's dormant.
Yeah,
It's sleeping.
absolutely. Beautiful, man.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that is like you said, good entryway into what we're chatting about today, which is our younger selves and like predominantly like our 20-year-old self. Like I was thinking like, like the 20s for the most part, early 20s. And um yeah, giving ourselves advice from where we stand now. I'm 31 right now. You are how old? 34, 35,
Yeah.
35. So we definitely have a vantage point to share now from to our younger selves. And yeah, I think it's always good. It's good to reflect and then it helps on a multi-dimensional level too, I think, because we have like, our child self that's existing with us and it can help grow these different parts of our psyche. So yeah, how does this topic land with you?
Yeah, well said. It's actually a really profound question for that reason. I think that's what I noticed when I was sitting on it and reflecting about it a little bit. The more deeply I think about it, the more it's stimulating and useful. It really does feel like it's growing a part of me because it makes me think about the things I've learned and things that don't work and things that appear to work. It's yeah, yeah. One of the things that came up for me, I'll tell you one. So 35 now. Advice for my 20-year-old self. Just thinking about what that means. So I've almost now been alive for 20 more years. So, you're growing up to 20, like a lot of that, you're a child, you're under your parents' roof, and you're hardly an adult. Like by the time you're 20, you've just gotten your taste of adult life. Now I've had almost that much time of adult life, 15 years of being kind of out on my own and learning. So one of the things that I would tell my younger self is fortune favors the bold. Just if there's something that you're interested in and there's something that you're fascinated by, or it keeps you up at night, or you just catch yourself thinking about it constantly, what that thing is, go for it. Go in that direction. Just meet the people who do that, read books about that, talk about that, and just get into it. Move in that direction, and you'll find that things will start happening and you can manifest that. Because a lot of the time, the things that we're really interested in, the thing that we would like to do, we don't feel like we can do it. It's not the socially approved thing, or there's not money in it, or somebody, yeah, there's some barrier that's stopping you from doing something you'd really like to do. Um, but if you move in that direction, then fortune is going to help you out. Whatever direction you're really serious about, you're going to get that aid in ways that are unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, they say, or I would also say to my 20-year-old self is that the 20s are basically like a risk-free time period. It's a time period in life where you should just go and try as much as possible and have no fear in it all. You're a nobody, and that's how we enter and leave this world to some degree, you know what I mean? Um, so don't be afraid of anything. You're here to forge yourself in those years and to really individuate. And it's the years of, like you said, like separation from the parents and, maybe the crowd that you grew up with. I mean, this is getting into more of like a broader sense of what it is to be in your 20s. Not so specific to me, I'd say, but just piggybacking off of what you said. Um, but yeah, it's the years that I would say is like just to be fearless and just like go for it, like you said.
Yeah, it is. It is. I really wish that I could go back and leave a note in that guy's room, or just talk talk to him, 20-year-old Jeff, and be like, hey, listen to me, bro. Trust
A
me, bro. This
little
is gonna be
interstellar,
worth it.
interstellar knocking the bookshelves off,
Yeah.
doing a little Morse code in the dust on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, the dust. The dust. I need to have a layer of dust in this room at all times, just in case my 50-year-old self wants to give me some advice. I think that would be a wise protocol.
Yeah, geez, that is trippy to think about. Um, but yeah, so for me, let's go off of what's one that I think I would give myself advice on. First thing would be relationships, romantic relationships. Do not, well, I mean, I would personally say like I've learned a lot through romantic relationships, spent a lot of time in long-term relationships, way, way too long, like overstayed my welcome. I think what I would say is like 2 years in your 20s, like after 2 years, if you're not certain of marriage or anything along those lines, then it's time to cut ties because 2 years is a long ass time. And once you start getting past that and you're still in question, then the trend starts to reverse and it seems like it's going in the opposite direction, or at least can for me. Um, so I would tell myself, like, max spend 2 years in a relationship. If you ain't ready to marry by 2 years, get out of it. Um, and on the flip side of that, I would also just say, dude, just focus on yourself. Focus on, finding your passions in life, your joys. You can have fun with women, but unless you really want to get married and have kids and everything, then I would say stay single. Focus on yourself, focus on your work, your finances, whatever it is. And yeah, but you do learn a lot in those romantic relationships for sure. But yeah, that's one thing I would tell myself.
Yeah, dude, 2 years is a long ass time. And you're right, relationships are probably the most fertile ground for growing. It's the thing that pushes all your buttons and really gets you out of your out of your comfort zone, the conflict, and it helps you know yourself a lot better. Man, yeah, dude. I'd like to give that advice to my younger self as well. And it's kind of related to something that I had in mind for myself as well. What you were saying is think about what you genuinely want. Think about what you genuinely reflect on what you think and feel genuinely, because a lot of the stuff in your head, 20-year-old Jeff, is things that you've absorbed from other people, and things that you think you want are actually things that you want because other people want them for you, or you think that other people want them for you, and you want to satisfy those people. So lean into your own genuine ideas and how you feel about something, even if the people around you don't feel that way. If that's what's real for you, then that's what's real for you. Because I stayed in relationships for too long for that reason, that I wasn't honoring how I thought and felt. I was not willing to see the decline after the time when it wasn't good for either one of us. Yeah, a girl broke up with me one time. We had been together for 4 years, and she said that at this point we're just comfortable, we're not happy. And I knew that, like I knew that inside, but I wasn't willing and ready to be authentic. So yeah, if I had been more in touch with what I thought and felt, then it probably would have been a lot easier. I would have been like, yeah, of course, like that's true. We need to either like change things around a lot or move on.
Those are wise words that came from your girlfriend there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now thinking about it for me, I mean, like, dude, I've essentially been, I mean, I've had time periods where I wasn't in relationships, but I've been in long-term relationships essentially from like freshman year of high school to like now. I mean, you could even push it back to like middle school. Like I've had some long-term relationships, but like yeah, like this
Wow.
past one was the longest of them, which was like 5.5 years. But all of my 20s, it was in more or less long-term relationships. There was some time periods where I had freedom, but as soon as things got good for me, I would I'd meet a girl, we'd hit it off, and then boom, off to the races, get into the relationship. So there's a lot of patterning. I guess that would be one thing is like advice I'd give myself is like observe the patterns, and if you're not happy with the patterns, or if you're not happy with life, then the patterns need to change. Um, so for me specifically, also I'd say like, dude, you gotta separate from the parents as early as possible in the most loving and compassionate ways, but it's essential. And yeah, that's definitely one piece of advice I'd give to me or to anyone that's in a certain dynamic where there's reliance or dependency on the parents still in your 20s. It's like that is like a super important time to individuate and just become you. And like you said, like we carry a lot of imprints of what others want us to be or think they should be. And our parents is more or less usually one of the most profound impacts or imprints that we'll have on our consciousness or psyche, whatever, personality. So, yeah, getting away from them in a loving way to remember, you know, your true self.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For me, the parents were definitely the the main force there in a conscious and unconscious ways, for sure. Yeah, you got it. You're going to go on that journey no matter what. One way or another, you are leaving the nest and you are going to need to be independent. And the faster you become independent, the faster you can become interdependent. Only independent people can be interdependent together. But to be independent, you have to find yourself. You have to go on your own journey and take up the responsibility for your life and for your world and learn how to make your own way. And then you can be interdependent and have those more harmonious relationships with people.
Yeah. And that coexists very nicely with like romantic relationships. To individuate, we got 10 minutes, I guess.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, there's a time limit on these Zoom calls. We can
How
do it.
long is it?
Well, it's 40 minutes from the
Oh,
inception.
okay.
Yeah, so we chatted beforehand, killed our time.
Shit, I didn't know it connected the two. All right. Yeah, I'll just finish up that thought quick and just saying that, yeah, the separation from the parents and our romantic relationships, it's super important to individuate, of course, either while you're in the relationship or before you get into the relationship, because as you know, relationships, more or less, the intention is marriage at some point. You know, most people aren't getting into relationships because like, oh, we're just gonna have fun for a year and then, break off. It's usually like, okay, we're gonna get into a relationship and see where this goes. And in order to go to marriage and the next steps, you need to be basically a full fucking adult at that point. And you can't do that under your parents' supervision or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna fly for sure. That's right. Man, one more for me, the last piece of advice that I would give to my younger self, at least the last one that I thought through is you cannot control everything. You can, if you have a direction you want to go in, your things that you're passionate about, that is wonderful. Go for those things. But life is not going to work out in this prescribed manner that the mind is envisioning. It's great to have a vision and to move toward it and do what you can. That you have to let go at a certain point of what you think everything has to look like. Because you're going to experience a lot of grief if you think that everything has to look a certain way. Reality is infinitely complex and the mind is provincial. Like I know my experience. I know like what I have done. I know what I want. Sometimes life has given you the gifts that you want and it's given you the beautiful things that you need. And you're so focused on your idea of how things should be that you're not there to appreciate what's actually happening. So at some point you have to realize that you can't control everything and that's okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, like that's a good point in life in general. Um, well, I guess there's contestations you can make, but two things I just throw in there before we end here. Um, Stop drinking fucking alcohol. Like, was drinking an insane amount of alcohol. Had great times, but did horrible things to my body. Probably stunted my growth and did all sorts of fucked up things. Um, just remembering back about just the absolute obliterated I used to get. Oh, it's crazy to think about.
Same,
And
bro.
then, yeah, it's just normal. I mean, I think the tides are changing nowadays, but yeah, it's still pretty normalized. And then the last thing I throw in there is it's hard to say, but like find a guide, like someone that an elder, but also, being that young and not really understanding life quite as much yet would be hard to choose one. But I guess like I mean I did seek them out. I guess I would just say like having guidance always there from someone that you admire and someone that you want to stand in their shoes one day of.
Man, dude, that's a really good one. That's actually um, one thing I would congratulate my younger self on. That's one thing that I would say, hey man, you did that right. When I was 23, I found a mentor and I mean I didn't know I didn't, like you said, it's when you don't know shit about fuck and fuck about shit, then a lot of the things you're doing are just shooting in the dark. And that was mostly what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I was taking shots in the dark. And maybe one day, maybe when I'm 50, I'll look at my 35-year-old self and I'll say that guy was taking shots in the dark. That's fine. My 20-year-old self was definitely blind and not knowing what he was doing here. But that being said, I did in my intuition led me to a really good mentor, and that helped me grow so much and helped me get out, accelerate, and avoid so many unnecessary cycles of just going in circles in life and repeating the same mistakes because he was really somebody who was where I wanted to be. Like I desperately wanted to stand in his shoes and be more like him because he embodied a lot of those qualities that were good. He's such a happy guy, successful, all these things. And that helped me to get on a more like linear path towards something good, like up, just like going up, not just around in circles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful, man. I pulled in my first mentor, I think, probably around the same age too. And that's kind of when we met each other. Um, but yeah, I'm grateful for them very much so. I still conversate with them. I still seek out advice from them. So definitely made a right decision there. But there could have been, I guess, more like personally for me, it wasn't like I sought someone out that I wanted to be in their shoes necessarily. But they just had a clear view of the world and was able to pass that along. So yeah, kudos to the both of us. We probably gotta jump off here now, right? So any last thoughts?
Just gonna reiterate, dude, 20-year-old Jeff, stop fucking drinking. I mean, it's okay to have a drink every now and then, but stop getting obliterated, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, it's hard, because like I'm very grateful for all the experiences I had in those years. Like had a lot of fun. Um, there is, yeah. What I would probably redefine it as is like, don't go to that, like, don't go overboard. Just drink slowly and drink enough to, lubricate yourself for social events or whatever, but don't fucking get to the point where you can't walk anymore.
Where
Like,
peanut
that's
butter
something
gets
stupid.
involved and yeah,
Yeah,
all these things.
stupid. But yeah, all right, man. Well, we're getting kicked off, so we'll come back with some. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this forever. So maybe we'll talk about like the future next, or at somewhere down the line of like what do we envision? Like, I don't know. What advice do we have for ourselves in the future from where we stand now?
Exactly. You read my mind. The next episode could be that we do one, what would our 70-year-old selves tell us to do now? Or what advice might they have for us? Or something like that. We can
Yeah.
figure it
But
out.
it can go both ways too, because you know, as we age, we can get stuck in certain ways and forget about things that our younger self had alive. So, we can do two ways too.
Dude, that said, I'm gonna drop a pearl for you. Something that I've been doing since probably early 20s is I leave myself reminders for like 5 years in the future. And sometimes I think I have a reminder out there for like 30 years from now, and I need to make more of them. And I tell myself about things that I feel now and good things that I found in the world. And there's so much exuberance and enthusiasm in those messages that I just wonder like what my 50-year-old self will be. Like I I can just imagine like a little more world weary guy and he'll read that and be like, that's how I used to feel. That's how I used to think about life. Like I fucking wrote that 20 years ago. I wrote that shit. Like that's just fascinating to me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, so much more to talk about. We're gonna jump back into this. We may have a repeat episode or go to that next thing we talked.
I think we will. All right, we gotta hop off because we're gonna get booted. So peace out, y'all.
Peace.